All right, guys, welcome to Inside the Studio here at Alamo City Studios. I'm joined by my longtime friend and collaborator here, Smiley Garcia, who is the managing director at Quarter Moon Productions.
General manager.
General manager.
General manager partner. Yeah.
So on this season, you guys know we're going to start covering a variety of people here in San Antonio and the surrounding areas that have influenced the creative, production, film, post-production communities. So I'm going to talk to Smiley today about a little bit about Quarter Moon and his experience working and really building a lot of legacy here in the production community here in San Antonio. So Smiley, welcome to the show.
Cool. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So so I guess first give us Quarter Moon. What do you guys do? What's sort of the vision? What's the
we kind of do a little bit of everything. You know, anything that's kind of associated with cameras, with video, with TV, we kind of adapt to. We've really been kind of flexible over the years. We're going on our 16th year, and we started off just doing commercial production the first 6 months or so, and then got introduced to content, started producing content for a TV station out of Austin. And now we kind of just, you know, we try to stay ahead of the curve and do what we can do to stay in business. It's a weird, as you know, it's a weird business, and it kind of changes as you go along, but we do everything. We currently have 4 30-minute broadcast TV shows that air weekly, locally and in the Austin area. And then we produce, I believe, 18 to 12 news, sports, entertainment updates, briefs a day, 7 days a week. And then we do commercial work, corporate video work, pretty much anything.
Yeah,
anything we can shoot, we'll jump on it.
Yeah. So 16 years, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, Smiley and I used to work together at another company over 20 years ago.
20, yeah.
Like I first met you over 20. Yeah. I think I started there so I was at Atomic, you were at Geo. They merged in like 5 or 6.
Were you in high school?
Yeah, I was still in high school when I started. And so Smiley was one of the guys, I was telling you when I saw you the other day, one of my early memories was carrying those giant light boxes around. Shooting, you know, one of my first opportunities on set was like carry these light boxes, set these lights up, and we were shooting like car commercials and interviews and all kinds of stuff back. But that was like 2005, I think.
Yeah, it might have been right before. Yeah, right before I left 2005 for a year, came back in 2006.
Okay, so maybe it was 2006.
So maybe 2000. Yeah, right in between that area. But yeah. I mean, that was another company. We did a little bit of everything, and especially once they merged. But yeah, you get the kids to carry the heavy stuff.
You went from there straight to Quarter Moon, and you started Quarter Moon.
No. So I went from there. Like I said, I left for a year, went to Houston. I was a producer at Time Warner in Houston for a while. They got bought out by Comcast, and so I came back. I really didn't like that environment. It's like a perfect blend of corporate and video that doesn't really work with either one. Came back to Geo for a year, and then went on to American Payroll Association.
That's right.
I built their in-house studio, kind of had that running for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then that's when I moved over to start at Quarter Moon.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's been 16 years. It's a long time.
Yeah. I think we're on October will be 16. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things I think is cool about what you guys do, I think a lot of production companies talk about doing it, especially ones in like the advertising broadcast space. They all talk about creating their own content and creating their own shows and doing all this stuff, but not a lot of them actually do. It's cool that you guys. Can you talk a little bit more about some of the shows you guys?
Sure. Yeah. We kind of stumbled onto it, you know, kind of as people do, and kind of looking to the future. Obviously, when I first started off, we were doing $200,000 commercials. You know, we were allowed to spend 3 to 6 months on that one commercial, and it was really, really great. You know, as time progressed, you saw that number was getting lower and lower, and the time limit was getting shorter and shorter. And we first opened up, we saw that. We definitely saw that happening. And one of the local stations that we had a relationship with, we had a friend that kind of was an owner over there, KCWX. They landed the Texas Rangers package where they were airing Texas Rangers baseball locally, and they were like, man, it'd be really cool if we can have some sort of kind of intro to it locally, like with our own people. And we had a studio, you know, and so we decided to do a little 6-minute Rangers countdown show with some local personalities from one of the San Antonio Express News sports writers, and Chuck McTennick from Fox. And so it was just 6 minutes pregame. They kind of built back into, like, if the game started at 7, we would start it at 6:54, and those 6 minutes were our Rangers countdown show. Did it for one season. It turned out really good. We really enjoyed it. It really got a local feel to it. So the following year, we built a 30-minute Texas Rangers countdown show to go in front of that.
Yeah.
And it seemed like every year it just grew from there. KCWX got a football package, either high school football package or it was a college football package, and and then we changed Texas Rangers Countdown Show into, I forget what the football one was called. It was like Football Weekly, and then it turned into a basketball, College Hoops Countdown, is what we did. So we cycled in 1 year 3 different shows on that same time period, depending on what we're running. Then, again, we had an opportunity to work with UTSA years ago when before they signed their deal with ESPN2. And they decided that they wanted to broadcast all their football games locally, and we were the broadcast partner. We hired full trucks, did the full live production, did a pregame show, halftime show, postgame show.
Okay, I didn't realize you were just doing the full.
Yeah, we did that for about
game.
3 years, and that was interesting. We did it for basketball and for football, and then there was a kind of a change of leadership as it happens.
Yeah. And
Conference USA ended up selling all the rights to ESPN Plus, so we kind of stopped doing that, which. I'm kind of okay with. It was a lot of traveling. It's live TV is different. It's a different animal.
Yeah.
Going to their shows, and now so that sports show that kind of changed, kind of transitioned into just a permanent Sports Weekly type show. It's called Sports Weekly. It's just general local sports, highlighting Texas teams mostly. So that airs on KCWX. And after a couple successful years of doing that, WAI reached out to us. I was interested in doing one for them called Sports Nation Overtime, and it airs Sunday nights after Don Harris's show, and so Don's on that show as well with David Chancellor and Chuck Bigtenick as well. And so again, it's just weekly sports updates that are kind of local, make it more local. And then we started doing entertainment stuff. We teamed up with Santikos years ago. They were a big client of ours, and we created a show called Film Flickers, where we would talk about what's coming out in the movie theater that weekend. Our host is Kimberly Crawford, again from Fox. And so she would host the show and talk about movies coming out. And we lost the relationship with Santikos, but we still continued the show. Yeah. Where we buy all the airtime, we sell all the airtime ourselves as well to our own clients. And then we branched out and created another show called Hollywood Hits. Hollywood Hits is very similar to Film Flickers, except it's very much about more TMZ-like, more background, more behind the scenes, inside more conversations, and we've turned it into a podcast this year. Cool. So we're on YouTube and Spotify right now, and I think Apple as well, a podcast. So we're kind of trying to transition with the times, obviously. Yeah.
Those other shows are still. I remember you told me you were doing the podcast one. Mm-hmm. Those other shows before though would air on television, or they would be like at the theater, or what's the
which ones? The Film Flickers. So like Film Flickers airs actually in about 6 different markets in Texas.
Gotcha.
So it airs mostly in Texas on Sinclair stations. Yeah. Sports Nation Overtime only airs on WAI. Sports Weekly airs on KCWX, and then Hollywood Hits airs I think at 3 different markets in Texas. Yeah. So they're all broadcast.
Well, one of the things that we're trying to do here with Alamo City Studios is like, for a long time I've said this a few times on other things we've done, is like, and it's not completely true, but it's sort of true, is like it's mostly been like the film and creative people and kind of like a narrow group of those kind of people that shoot and make awesome film content, production content, whatever. And one of the things that I'm trying to do, just because this is, I'm not the greatest shooter film guy personally myself, so I'm trying to, as we're rebuilding ACS and relaunching it this year, and trying to figure out like what are the things that with my expertise I could add value to. Gotcha. And so some of those are like I've been trying to invite more of like the producer, business community, those kind of people to understand like what it is that we do and things like that. But going back to like your the first or maybe the second one, like when WOAI came and said, hey, let's do a sports show on ours, what's the model for that? Do they pay you? Do they?
It's kind of it's more. It started off as a partnership at the time. It was WAI kind of not necessarily paying us, but saying, okay, well, you can have this hair time.
Gotcha.
For this show, and we work out a trade deal, you know, because typically you pay for 30 minutes of time from a station, and then you own kind of the commercial breaks, and it's your responsibility to sell those commercial breaks.
Gotcha.
And that's really where you make your money, right?
Yeah.
Advertising.
Yep.
So in this deal, we came to an agreement where it was kind of a barter system. Yeah. We kind of got the airtime for free. They kept some of the commercial time because they recognized that our production quality is pretty good. It's gonna
yeah.
somebody's gonna watch that over a rerun, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that was the big thing at the time, was like first run shows. You know, we don't have any first run shows. All we have is reruns of Seinfeld or Friends, and it's been airing for 10 years, and the ratings aren't getting that high. We need something that's just first run.
Yeah.
So we promised we could deliver that.
Yeah.
We showed that we could. We also had an agreement with, at the time, was the San Antonio Express News. It was owned by Hearst, I believe, at the time. And so they paid for production. They kind of paid for production. And they got half the ad time, and then WA got the other half.
Yeah.
So that lasted a couple years, and then Hearst got bought out by somebody else, I believe. And they no longer wanted to do the show. So then we took over kind of ownership of the show with the same kind of deal. So that's really key to those shows, is having a relationship that, you know, you can prove the trade agreement, the trade barter agreement. We did have another show called YOLO Texas that ran for 7 years, which was pretty much in every market in Texas. And there was a couple of stations on those that we kind of paid for time, because the barter didn't really work out. And we were able to
But then you resell it.
Then you resell it.
Yeah.
Then you got to have a sales team. Then you got to have people. Then you have, you know, relationships. So that's always good. That really helped us with our shows, is having a history and relationships with ad agencies in town that wanted to put their clients on our show.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really a sell. Wasn't really a push.
Can you talk about that a little bit? I mean, you don't have to be specific
Sure.
and violate anything, but like how does that relationship work with you when you've used the local ad agencies as your channel to sell all the space on, right? Is that?
Sure. Yeah, definitely. It's beneficial to have, you know, that kind of relationship, because it breaks off into different areas. But yeah, one of the largest ad agencies in South Texas is a big partners of ours, as well as another tourism agency it's pretty huge in San Antonio. But our relationship with both of those agencies, it goes back to even when we were working together.
Yeah.
And that's how I met them 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And then just kind of building that trust and realizing that there's opportunities. And that was the big thing with YOLO, was that one of the agencies we have a really good relationship with basically was rooted in tourism. That was their expertise. You know, they had CVBs around the state, and they knew what their budgets were, what they were paying other companies like Day Tripper or like Bucket List, and they knew that the quality they would get from us was going to be better.
Yeah.
We would pay attention more to what we were putting out. So we were able to use that information, and obviously use that knowledge that we had creating commercials for them, and realizing that there's an opportunity here, and it really worked out for a long time. It just COVID changed everything, but yeah, it's all those relationships. It's things they tell you, when you're young and you don't believe anybody. It's like the relationships mean more than your work ethic sometimes, and it's true. But if you have both, it's a huge plus.
Yeah,
it's a huge plus.
Yeah, I was talking. We kind of shot one of our first episodes in here the other day, and I was talking to Karina, who does all our social media, and she's really the main host of this podcast, and then a couple of us are also branching out with people that we know personally and shooting some additional episodes. But yeah, we were talking about that, and I was just telling her how it's crazy how much, you'll network, you'll come to these mixers, networking events, whatever, and you'll meet people, and you might sort of follow each other for 15, 20 years, and then all of a sudden it makes sense to work together. And now, but if you wouldn't have made that investment before, like, it never sort of comes to fruition. So going all those things is super important. That's the other part of what we're trying to do here at ACS, is really, and it's not just young people, but there's obviously a lot of young people looking for a foot in the door or a way to sort of get started. So, we try to encourage those young people, especially, to really start coming to our events and our mixers and stuff, to, again, not to necessarily talk to me or Karina or ACS people, but to meet other people that are doing stuff that they could eventually grow with and stuff.
Yeah, early on in your career, it's really hard to understand. You see everybody's competition. You see everybody's like, oh, their competition will be better than them. There's so few real production companies in San Antonio that you never want to, leak out any important information or give them any edge. But at the end of the day, we're all working together to try to just grow. And if it wasn't for a pickup basketball game, I don't know if you remember, we used to play pickup basketball years ago with one of the biggest competing production companies. Like, we wouldn't have formed a relationship, and I wouldn't have continued on with QMP and worked with Albert Wooten, one of our DPs. That was huge.
And you still hoop or no?
No, I can't hoop anymore. Not allowed to jump after my back surgery, but yeah.
I'm terrified if I tried. My ambitions are much stronger than my physical abilities.
I'll have to be an outside shooter, just the three, so I can't go in the paint anymore.
So, what do you think about so how do you guys look then at the future? Like looking at what I'm seeing, you're still directly tied to your original content, the advertising agency work you do. Sure. I see so this is more outside looking in, but I see people making TikTok ads. The whole TikTok ad program is crazy. People, 400 people make an ad for a vitamin. That vitamin company sees the top 5 that take off. Then they just invest their media buy into those ads that are made by someone at home doing goofy, silly videos, whatever. Yeah. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you kind of see big, I don't know, a good example, the F1 movie, right? Which is a large commercial for F1 and all LVM and all the sponsors of F1 and stuff like that. Where do you see sort of the future of what you guys are doing in that landscape? I mean, what do you think comes next?
It's tough. I think it's a mix. Yeah. I think it changes. In my opinion, of it changes kind of every 6 months. So you kind of have to stay agile. It's not an industry where it never has been an industry where you can get settled in and comfortable and do what you do. That's only going to last 6 to 10 months, and it's just before you know it's going to change. And if you haven't changed with it, you're losing out, and that's happened to a lot of companies in town lately. In the past 10 years, is they just swallow up or they go away. Yeah. But in my opinion, it's kind of a little bit of everything. It's investing in time and learning AI, so that it can help you and not destroy you. That's a big push of mine for the past year now, is to slowly learn software by software what it can do to help us. What can it do to plus us out, not necessarily take over. Yeah. I'm not asking it for do 100%. I'm asking it to do 20-25% of our workload so that we can be better. Yeah. And I think that the biggest thing with TikTok and social media videos is they're not really looking for higher quality anymore. Right? It's the story. Yeah. It's the creative. And that's, to me, since day one, has always been the most important thing. It doesn't matter really at the end of the day how great the quality of picture is. If you're intrigued by the story, if you're involved, if you're listening, if you're paying attention, you forget how great the audio is and how great the picture is, right? Yeah. So that's technically our goal. Is we know we have that kind of stuff nailed down, like the technical stuff. We're trying to push the story, push the creative, and push clients to do something a little more creative, do something a little differently. Yeah. Some are willing, and some aren't. But I think that a lot of it's going to have to come from self-generation. It's going to have to, come from creating spec spots. We participated in the Super Bowl Doritos commercial competition. Didn't qualify, but it was a quick lesson of oh damn, we really do need to work on more of our creative, more of our pre-production. Yeah. And I think that's where AI can help out with and be an entry to that. But I think that the market for big budget commercials, big budget films is dwindling, is creeping down slowly every day. But gear and everything else is getting cheaper, right? It's getting easier to finance. It's getting easier to purchase. Getting easier to create your own podcast studio. So that's good. But if you look at shows like, I don't know if you saw The Studio with Seth Rogen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. If you look at that, they were not really worried about quality, right? Yeah. A lot of the one-shotters, which are impressive, to pull off a one-shot, and switch between multiple vehicles and walking and talking and whatever it is, it's really impressive. But if you notice, the lighting isn't great. It transitions really heavily, a lot of contrast. But you're in the moment, right? You're engaged, you're paying attention to so it feels a lot more real. And I think that's where we got to find a happy medium. Yeah, is to create this real feeling to the customer, because it's really hard to trick people now. Yeah, you can no longer. It used to be this thing. What was it called? Not movie magic, but what's the word I'm looking for? A word you could just throw out there and it would be like, oh well, it's a movie. It's fake. It's not real. You don't connect. Now I feel like everything. People are pointing it out. That's not real. That doesn't look real. Or that might be AI. Or nobody's ever going to do that. And Iron Man can't fly. It's like, come on. Suspension of disbelief, right? Yeah, that's what I'm going for. So it's trying to meld those two. It's trying to come a little bit of reality, make it feel real and wholesome, with a high production value that's not that doesn't break the bank, because budgets aren't out there anymore. Yeah, it's almost like
Like I remember growing up watching soap opera. Not I didn't watch soap operas.
Sure.
Don't judge me, anybody. But
Novelas.
but I would see them on TV.
Yeah.
And the lighting was always like, you could tell they had that soap opera look, right? It's almost like normal professional, what we would consider just general professional lighting is almost becoming that, right? It's like if it's too lit or too.
Yeah, it's overworked, and you can see you can see in like early 2000 films, and you can pay attention, you can see the quality, and to me, what changed a lot was what's it called? The Departed. I know people were doing it before, but Departed, Scorsese, the whole negative fill.
Yeah.
That was, it didn't exist for a long time, and now it was a big no-no, right? You just didn't do that.
Yeah.
And now negative fill is huge. Talk space is huge.
Yeah.
We were taught to have talk space, and now you don't see that. These Netflix documentaries are coming out with are beautifully shot, and they're just all over the place, but they're really well done.
Yeah.
It just, again, it makes you feel engaged to what you're watching.
Yeah.
That's, to me, I think that's key.
Yeah.
Because you can spot a fake. I mean, to me, you can really spot fakeness. You can spot AI when it's not done right.
Yeah.
It's just, and to me, the consumer's not going to like that.
Yeah.
There's not trust.
Yeah.
So
you're following the AI, some of like the video gen models and stuff pretty close? Or?
A little bit, yeah. I've been on ChatGPT for about, since it opened, so about 18 months now. I've been slowly learning, modules and stuff like that. We're on Runway, helping us build kind of models. As you know, I mean, your visual effects background, your 3D background, it takes away a lot of the time spent. It's like, buying a model from, what's
Turbo, what
Turbo
used to be Turbo Squid.
Turbo Squid, yeah. So it takes that it turns days of work into 1 day of work or 2 days of work, and you can take pieces. It's not perfect. The last character we built from Runway, kind of had the lower body of one, and we took arms from another one, and we took the torso from another, and then took the head from a fourth, and it was just kind of modeled it together and piecemealed it, but it still saved us days. For something that costs a couple $100. I think it's I forget what the package is, but now I'm looking at Sora.
Midjourney just released a new video model. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Nice. And I think Opus, is it Opus, a discrete? There's another one I'm looking into that's like almost like an auto editor and creates social media videos for you.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where that goes and how that affects, like you said, all the artists and different people and stuff like that. I tell my people the same thing. It sounds like you'd probably tell yours, which is like, you got to learn how to use it as a tool because it can only empower you. We've got a lot of one of my companies upstairs. We've got a lot of programmers, software developers and stuff, and they literally have their IDE open on one monitor and they have ChatGPT on the other, and they're running code through it, and it superpowers them really.
Yeah,
and it's not
catches mistakes.
It's not something to be afraid of. It's something like, it's a tool you can master just like any other tool when we were learning those 20 years ago, right?
I mean, if you look at anything else as AI, if you look at the tracking plugins that we used to put in After Effects or DaVinci or Softimage, I mean, those are technically AI, right? Those are using. We used to work with a guy that would give information to Photoshop so that they could add tools to their specifics. I mean, that's technically AI as well. I mean, they're all tools that we can use to grow and get better. Yeah. The idea is to allow a good balance and not expect it to take over your position, right? Yeah,
this is a different podcast, but I saw last thing I'll say about this part is I saw NVIDIA, I think it was NVIDIA released a new model or a new white paper, and somebody built, I can't remember what I saw exactly, but I can't remember the lineage of this, so I'll get this wrong, but essentially what I think NVIDIA was doing is, they'll take a 2D image, and then they would be able to say, it would think it was a model of a Gundam or something, right? Mm-hmm. And they could fully extract in 3D, a fully segmented model from that single image. So it would basically remodel it, so essentially from 2D to 3D, which has kind of been done before, but fully segmented, all the objects, all the edge loops, all the things that you need to operate that and rig and animate and whatever that model, all completely done automatically. I was like, man, it was
Yeah, and I remember spending a whole summer on Softimage learning how to build a stereo, right? One of their demo models.
Yeah, but anyway, it's crazy where that's going. Yeah. Okay, last couple questions.
Sure.
What's like your favorite thing, man? What do you like? What do you really like to do? Because I mean, you shoot, you edit, but you manage the company. You help. I mean, you're talking about
as far
sales
as work
relationships,
environment, work environment or personally, work environment. I enjoy lighting. I really do.
Okay.
Like that's a passion of mine. I've shot for, since I was, I don't know, 17. Edited since I was a kid. So that kind of stuff I enjoy doing, but it's kind of just like, just it's kind of repetitive.
Part of the process.
It's part of the process. The stuff I think I really enjoy doing is lighting, is seeing a look, seeing a movie like Joker and trying to visualize, trying to make that, The Bear is another one I really like, the lighting on The Bear. Is seeing that and just trying to replicate it, trying to see how they did it and what they did. And to me, that goes back to some of the people that started this industry in San Antonio, the Bill Hayes and the George Nelsons, the people that used, everyday light bulbs to create different looks and mirrors and stuff like that. So that's really interesting to me, is the lighting aspect. You don't always get a lot of time in production, to get that lighting correct. But that's enjoyable for me, definitely.
Cool. And
the least part is sales. Sales is not fun.
You don't like the spreadsheet
I'm not
part
that
of the
kind
job? Of guy, yeah. Any advice you'd give to people looking for maybe get a job at Quarter Moon, work with you guys?
Sure. Yeah, the biggest thing I would say is passion. Like, you got to really enjoy it. You got to really enjoy it, because the first, as you probably remember, the first 5 to 10 years, you're not going to do something you enjoy doing, right? You're going to be carrying heavy equipment for the guy that's been doing it for 20 years. So my point is be passionate and don't expect, it to be great right away. You're gonna have to jump through some hoops and get some stuff done that you don't normally want to do. I mean, I remember my first, I think, couple months was repurposing beta tapes. Putting goo gun on beta tapes with a sticky to remove them, and we don't use tapes anymore, but so that we could repurpose those tapes to send to stations for save some money. And it wasn't fun. It was a pain in the ass going home smelling like goo gun every day, but. And I still have to do that sometimes. As an owner, as a manager, you still gotta do that. So it's like you gotta wear many hats. Be okay with wearing many hats, especially as time changes. There's gonna be much more hats to put on, and doing it with a smile on your face is tough. But being that and being open, I think a lot of this industry, when you're young and when you come into this industry, you have a vision of what you want to do with your life and what you want to do with your passion. And being open to change that, being open to listening to people that have been doing it for 20 or 30 years and take those that insight. And you might have a great idea, and it might be great, but somebody might be able to plus it out for you and help you with that. Just be open, collaborative, as opposed to just being being more private and closed off and trying to build your own brand and your own style alone. Nobody really does it alone, as you know. I mean, nobody really does it alone. You have a team of people that are usually pretty talented and pretty important, and that even a bad idea can turn into a good idea with enough foresight and vision. So that's why I said, just be open, be comfortable, be ready to be flexible.
Cool, man.
Where
website, all that stuff, where you guys at?
3QMP.com.
3QMP.com.
Yeah, as our website, and then you can pretty much the shows, Hollywood Hits, Film Flickers, Sports Nation Overtime, Sports Weekly, you can find those anywhere on TV, WAI, KSWX, that kind of stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, hey man, I appreciate you doing this with us, and we'll have you back for other stuff and
sounds good.
Talk some more.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Later, guys.